Okay, go live. Try again. Here we go.
Go Big Blue! Go Big Blue! Go Big Blue! Go Giants! Go Big Blue! New York Giants!
God, it's great to be a Cowboy, isn't it? This is how we do stuff. This is the Cowboys. We're trying to do something. Be a leader. It's time to lead the football team. It's time. It's your time.
It's our time right now. 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 It's our time right now.
He was a Giant, and he was a Cowboy. Now these two former rivals have joined forces to bring you the most insightful, perceptive, and controversial sports talk podcast in America. Former Dallas Cowboys defensive end Jim Jeffcoat locks horns with former New York Giants wide receiver Byron Williams. And now, here's Byron Williams and Jim Jeffcoat.
Good evening, Brian. Byron, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing good, but I have a problem with our producer.
You have a problem?
Because he said I had 3XL shoulders but 5XL belly. That is not true. I don't want anybody out there to believe that.
You do have some big shoulders, though. I
got big
right
shoulders,
on that part.
And I don't have the 5X belly.
You have a lot of guys have beer bellies now.
Yeah, see, I'm not into that. I'm not into the bear belly.
Man, we got.
I want to get him straight on that.
You know what we need? You know what we need?
What's that?
We need an updated picture just to make sure we see your belly.
That's exactly right. We got to get that corrected because that's a really sensitive subject.
Yeah. Well, I know we don't want to see you out there doing sit-ups all week long.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start wearing muscle shirts on the the telecast.
So you actually wear a size 3X?
On the shoulders, because my shoulders are so broad.
I just want to get the size right because they do make 4Xs and 5Xs.
No, that's all right. I don't need that.
Okay.
Yeah. But
man, this is tomorrow. It's the big show. Less than 24 hours, huh?
Yeah. There's a lot of things still going on in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's rumors that Seattle wants to trade for Baker Mayfield, but I can understand they don't want to pay him $18.9 million or
$18.9 million. So
they're saying that if Cleveland wants to move on from Baker Mayfield, they're going to have to pay half of that at least.
Yeah, they're going to have to pay a big sum of that because of his contract. And now he's still in his rookie contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they would have to pay half of it, but still, common sense tells you nobody's going to trade for him unless they really fall in love with him. And the reason is you can get him for free, and then Cleveland foots the bill if they have to cut him.
Yeah, absolutely. So
they have to foot the bill. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah,
and I just feel like, they probably tried to, put him out there and see who would be interested in him, and they didn't get a bite, so.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing when we're still on Mayfield is that if he does become free, who's going to take the opportunity to let him go? And there's teams, Atlanta possibility because they got Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
But what other teams? Maybe Seattle.
What about Houston? Would that be a fit for him?
I don't think Houston wants him. Okay. I think they're going to ride with Davis Mills. So I think Houston is not going to go after him.
Yeah.
It'd be a good fit.
I think it'd be a good fit. It's about three teams can probably squeeze him in there and make it interesting for their team. So
but here's interesting. He did, and we tend to forget about it. He was one play away from getting Cleveland in the championship, right?
One
play, and people forget about that because of all the issues last year. And I don't know is what caused the issues, but there were issues, obviously. The deal with Odell Beckham and now with Landry being injured.
Yeah. It's really, it's really unfortunate that, everybody was so excited about them at the beginning of the season. They were expecting them to go to the playoffs, go deep into the playoffs. And next thing you know, of course, injuries and things that happen with Odell Beckham on and off the field. And a lot of things happen, too, in the locker rooms, and, with the teammates and how they, communicate with each other. So I don't know. Maybe the locker room wasn't as tight as it should have been. But it's definitely, that just goes to show you about how impactful it is and important it is to everybody in that locker room have some type of chemistry and support each other in the locker room on and off the football field.
And what you're saying is, here's my issue or my question to you is Deshaun Watson's there. We know he's a talent, but there's something going on in that locker room. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's players. I wonder why. And that's true. No player came to his defense.
Right.
But is there something going on in their locker room? Is this individuals or is this truly a team? Because no player did come to his defense, and there's something going on. Maybe they didn't like his insurance commercial because he had the code to the stadium.
To the gate. Yeah, he had a code to the gate, and they ran 3 or 4 or 5 different episodes. I know one episode. Right. His wife was a part of the the commercial. So
and he did sell one of the offensive linemen where he made his mistake. He sold one of the offensive linemen's shoulder pads, so he made a mistake there.
Yeah. Hey man, they might have got mad about that about him doing that. So
hey, wait a minute, where's my shoulder pads at?
But man, you just kind of hate it because football is so much goes into the equator and goes into the chemistry of how the success is derivative and derived from the season. And I just hate I'm kind of friends with Myles Garrett and his family and stuff here in Arlington. But it just everybody had high expectations for the Cleveland Browns.
No question, and I agree with you. Something like you said went wrong in that whole situation because he does have talent.
Oh yeah,
And it was interesting until this year, you really didn't hear anything bad about him.
Right, nothing bad.
All of a sudden, now he's the worst guy. He's public enemy number 1. So there's something going on that behind the scenes. He did something, or the organization did something, which doesn't make sense because Cleveland hasn't had since Bernie Kosar.
Right.
They really haven't had a lot of success with quarterbacks.
Absolutely, they haven't, and he been their bright spot in the last
year. Don't you think that's a little bit unusual?
Very unusual. Very unusual.
So I'd love to, find the background of what happened because this is interesting. In the whole NFL is how things are done. Because if you remember, and when we were there, quarterbacks were there for quite a bit of time. They retired with the same team.
Yeah, they just the staple mark of that team. They the heartbeat, really. That's the
they were the face of the organization, but now it's changing.
Yeah,
it's changing.
They giving these receivers $30 million, $25 million. That's another thing too. We talked about that last week with Mac and Jack, and it's unbelievable because so many receivers can get hurt, replaced, and injured. And Jim, I'll be honest with you, 17-game schedule. That's a long game. That's a long season.
That is. And then how they train. Me and Too Tall Jones was talking about it. I think a lot of it is how they train too. And you mentioned this, is that receivers are different, first of all.
Absolutely.
You got to be careful with them. And I don't mean baby them.
Right.
But they also need special care to make sure they can be effective the whole season, the really good ones, and to stay healthy.
Absolutely, because they get shoulder injuries, hamstring injuries, ankle injuries, and knees banged up, concussions. We're seeing that you throw all those injuries into the pool of things. It's hard to get that 18-week schedule out of a good wide receiver.
That's true. That is true. And then you're seeing receivers becoming bigger and more physical, and they're still getting these injuries.
Yeah.
So there's issues with that. But you're right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
You're right. Yeah. What about this wide receiver? What about this wide receiver named Byron? I played with a guy named Mike Pringle, and
I wonder if they're related because I know.
You know what? I think they are related. I think
Really?
Mike was so impressed with me, he named his son after me. Gave him my first name, I think, because
You think so?
yeah. But Mike was a great running back, and you know he was everything up in Canada too. But Mike Pringle was a pretty devastating running back. He kind of remind you of Deebo Samuel, how he run that ball.
Yeah, yeah. And we got a question. So what's changed with the receiver position? And
I just think the receiver position can change the dynamic of a game. You know, we talk about Tyrese Hill. You know, when he get that ball, man, it's dynamic. And you know, Devontae and all those guys, DeAndre Hopkins, these guys, they have a whole different approach to the game, and it's really exciting. You know, like remember DeAndre Hopkins caught that bad pass in the end zone last year. It really, you know, people got excited about that. And then when Odell Beckham started making these one-hand catches, people are getting excited about that. So, you know, the receivers are entertainers, and I think it brings a lot of spark, a lot of interest. So,
yeah, they do, and they're divas. They always have been.
Yeah.
And and you say, wow, he's calling them, but that's the truth. The really good receivers are divas. The really great ones are divas. Terrell Owens.
Yep.
He was a great receiver, but he was a diva. And he's saying the old receivers didn't get hurt like the ones today.
We talked about that. They were a little bit more physical. I think. I think guys.
Well, I don't know if it's more physical. I think you know, you're seeing bigger guys play, and like you said, they might not be in the tip-top shape of some of the older receivers.
Yeah.
Because they got banged up pretty good, though. The rules helped the defense.
Yeah, the rules have changed. You ain't got that Stickum, you know, the Raiders defense and how they used to terrify receivers. You know, they don't hit us. They don't hit those creases as hard as Jerry Rice did. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different game. It's a different approach. But I think these offenses now are more skilled of passing, making big plays, highlight plays. You know, the Randy Moss. You know, you got Moss and all that stuff is becoming real popular now.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And also you got to remember, too, and people don't really think about this, the average plays per game when we played was probably about 65.
Yep.
The average plays for games now are around 85 to 90 plays. And that takes a toll on you.
Yeah. You know, with the increase of 7-on-7, these summer camps, and these kids going all around the country playing in these different leagues and competition, you know, it really have made it more of a receiver / quarterback game.
No question. No question. But you were talking about Brian Pringle, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that he did get arrested, but and you talked about it, and he was driving a sports car with a suspended license, and he was down in Florida doing donuts with his child in the car. I mean, some of these things are just common sense.
And plus, he had just signed. Didn't he sign a new contract with Chicago?
Chicago, yeah,
Chicago Bears. And, you know, I don't understand how these guys keep making these same crazy mistakes in the offseason. Man, you got to be able to be knowing what's, because you mess with your livelihood, you mess with your career, you know, and it's devastating that you driving around with a suspended license.
And then you're going to be verbally abusive to the arresting officer. That's the biggest mistake.
Oh yeah.
That's the biggest mistake, because now, first of all, you had the child in the car, which is dangerous.
Right.
Now you start getting into it, that officer, and you're probably going to be a lot bigger than he is. And that officer could say, well, I'm going to defend myself, especially in Florida.
Oh, yeah. They don't.
In Florida, because they can do that.
They definitely can. You know, I want to say that my phone, well, I just left Florida, right? I've been over there for the last 4 days. So my phone updated. And so I woke up after the update and I pushed the emergency deal, 911. And guess what? The police called me and said, Mr. Williams, where are you? You need help? So this technology is really changing the concept of the game, man.
It really is, because that happened to me too.
Oh, you okay? So I'm not the only jumping around out there.
Yeah, I was in Texas, but then I was headed to Connecticut because some guy up there said I had a size 5X belly, and I was going to find them, and I actually pushed my 911. I said, "No, I'm just going to take care of business."
Yeah, so yeah, that was exciting that this officer called me. I hung up on him the first time. I said, "Yeah, what you want?" And he said, "You just dialed 911. We need to know, are you okay at the Marriott?"
Ain't that crazy? You're right, because you could accidentally hit it, and they're going to tackle you, which is good in ways.
It's good in ways. Yeah,
it is good. It's you kind of feel embarrassed. That what are you talking about? Well, you called 911.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's up in Connecticut. That's up in Connecticut. If we dial 911 up in, have you ever dialed 911 in Connecticut, Jim?
No, I never dialed 911 in Connecticut. You don't have anything to be scared of up there.
Okay.
That's why. But here's the interesting thing. They said 5 players may drop, and they had Traylon Burks, and they have him in Georgia, but he's from Arkansas.
Right.
That's that guy from the university.
Yeah, number 5.
The Cowboys take him.
I like that receiver. Now.
Yeah, he looked good on his highlights. And I don't know. I mean, and then
he reminds me of CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
A little bit. Coming out of college, just looking at his highlights.
But he's bigger than CD, isn't he?
Yeah, he might be a little taller than CD.
Yeah. I thought he was a little bigger. Then they said Tyler Lindenbraun, and I know why, from Iowa.
Yeah.
He is the center, and he's undersized. And this is undersized in the NFL today. He's 298, and he's probably only a center. He probably can't play any other positions.
Yeah.
And that's it. Then they had Nakobe Dean, who is a tremendous player, but he's only 5'11 and a half.
Yeah, they talked about his height, during the when they talked about the mock draft and talking about the possibility of where he may go. Yeah,
and then George Karlaftis from Purdue.
Yeah, from Purdue. Yeah, from
Purdue. I watched him. I wasn't that impressed with him as a defensive end. And then Andrew Booth from Clemson. I really don't know a lot. He's a corner. He's played in a good system, but I really honestly haven't watched him a lot. But here's the one that now they're saying that Thibodeau, Kayvon Thibodeau is going to go to the Jets.
Man, I like him. I had him going. I was hoping he stay around. Nobody get him because I wanted to go to the Giants. I just like him for some reason.
And here's the thing that was interesting. I was listening to one of these geniuses say the reason that he's dropping is because he's got skinny calves.
I had skinny calves.
Yeah, I said racehorses have skinny calves. I'm saying, he can't bend because his calves are not big enough. Like,
that was somebody said. Who said that?
Some guy named Straggler, one of those NFL gurus.
Okay.
I'm saying, what?
But you know what? I've been watching him. I've been watching how he played the last 2 or 3 games. Coming out of California, he had some hard times. So this guy, he liked playing chess. He's a chess player. So it's exciting to see some of these players and hear their stories, and I think just going to another level. That's why you got to look more in depth and how these players approach life. Really,
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
and chess players make good defensive ends because it's all strategy.
Right,
you understand strategy because you always are thinking one move ahead. I love chess.
Well, one of the things you always have said, Jeff, when you first went up to Buffalo and the guys, how they talked to you, gave you some more insight, and like Bruce Smith and, Tutar Jones and those guys, they gave you insight. And that's kind of how these defensive men, man, it's a lot of good defensive players, especially defensive men and edge rushers that's coming in this draft. Yeah.
And there's not a Myles Garrett, let's be honest. And I like the kid Hutcherson from Michigan. But there's not a Myles Garrett because Myles Garrett was a unique athlete. He was so explosive. He could do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and he wasn't even the best athlete in his family. His brother played for the Mavericks, and then he went over in Europe. His sister was the shot put champion of the state of Texas, and she won the 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
He played at A&M too. All his family did, but he was there. Yeah. But, somebody mentioned that Dan Marino wasn't good at chess. He wasn't good at winning Super Bowls either. So
he got close this first or second year in the league, but that was it.
Yeah, that's as close as he got.
Right.
So he did break a lot of records, but he doesn't have any rings. Oh, you want me to go get the rings?
But you know what though, Jim? That's the class of '83. You and I was in that class.
That is true.
It's great talent. Great talent. One of the best draft classes in 1983, and then I'm gonna say in 1996 was another good draft class.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Yeah. But here was the interesting thing. I was reading an article, and they were saying Tony Eason, who was also in the class of '83.
No, the five quarterback, five quarterback pack. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were saying that it was a bad pick by New England taking Eason over Marino. And true, Marino broke a lot of records at Miami.
No, looking back at it now, it's easy to say that. Yeah, easy to say that.
He went to the Pro Bowl 9 times, so that's not enough. But when the long thing is, what are you in football for? Are you in there to get all these individual records, or you want to win Super Bowls? Because Eason went to the Super Bowl. He's 0-1, and Marino's 0-1. And we know how good Dan was. There's not a question on that.
Right.
But I want to win Super Bowls. Because, I mean.
And that's kind of what that's what John Elway did. He won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he won Super Bowls. Yeah, so you're right. And Jim Kelly went to 4.
Yeah.
But he didn't win. But Jim Kelly to me, he was a special player.
He won a lot of games. Jim Kelly won a lot of games.
Marino won a lot of games.
Yeah.
Marino won a lot of games.
Yeah. And Todd Blackledge, he was another guy that was in that draft.
That's true.
Up in Kansas City, So
I think the 5 were Elway, obviously Marino, Jim Kelly, Blackledge, and Eason.
Yeah.
So, and then Blackledge was really the only one that didn't have a lot of success. He was at Kansas City.
Yep, exactly.
Obviously went there. Elway went to the Super Bowl. We know about Jim Kelly, and we know about Marino. Marino went to 1 Super Bowl,
but you know what? It's good that we're talking about back then and what's now because of the style of offenses that's being played today. Like we said earlier, it's a quarterback / receiver type game. Right. And if you look at your tight end, you got some of the most talented guys as tight ends around the league.
Kylie Pitts, obviously we know about San Francisco and Kansas City.
Yeah.
And you're right, the tight end position. I think we're going to transition. This is just my opinion. Mm-hmm. We're going to transition because defenses are getting smaller to compete with some of this passing game.
Okay, yeah.
It's going to be like Tennessee. Teams are going to go to run the ball because they're going against undersized defense in certain positions.
Right. And I think that's where the good offensive coordinator come in to know the strength, because, if you got, like when you play the Titans, you better lock up because they coming at you. They're going to be running that ball.
Yeah.
And I think, too, football is not that hard. It's putting the right chemistry and right game plan together and knowing what the weakness of your defense that you have.
Exactly. How are you going to attack it offensively? And the same thing, defense, you want to attack it. You want to attack certain positions. If you got an offensive lineman that's your weakness, you're going to try to attack him, and you're going to know if the running back fumbles, if the wide receivers, like we talked, is not physical. Then you want to, play a –
and I'll tell you another thing that really changed the dynamic of the game, too, if you stop to think about it. When you have a shutdown corner like Deion Sanders, on that one side, they know they try to go at here, So
That's true. And he would say that.
Yeah.
He said, y'all roll the coverage away from me. I got this side. He said, don't bring anybody over to help me. I got this. So he did that. But on the things, it was interesting. Everybody thought that Hutchinson from Michigan was going to be the number 1 choice. Now they're saying that Travion Walker from Georgia. And he's 6'4 and a half, 254, I think he is. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's 275.
275. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of these mock drafts and what didn't happen since the combine, that they had up in Indianapolis. And one of the things that's happening is, the interviews that's taking place, the pro days on these campuses when players, these scouts and the coaches get to see them for a second and third time, and they're also interviewing these players, and so it's kind of giving them a more insight of what they want to do with the teams and how impactful this guy is going to be. Because when you're talking about picking the first 2 or 3 players, you're talking about impacting. These guys are going to be playing. These guys are going to be the part of your plan of action for the year. So that's very important to them.
Yeah. I'm going to take the high energy player myself, and he is Walker, but Hutchinson is 6'7". I think he's in 260, a little bit, 270.
Yeah.
Both of them are high energy. They're both going to be successful in the NFL because of their energy. And then I noticed something interesting this week.
What's that?
Talking about players, and this is going to affect all the teams, even the Giants, is that they're talking about there's red flags on certain, and you notice how that sneaks out close to the draft. Evan Neal from Alabama, also the kid from Central Michigan, and there were about 4 or 5 players. All of a sudden, now they got these red flags, not from a mental standpoint, but it's physical, something in physical that won't give him a long career. Anthony Munoz had that, and we know how good Munoz was.
Yeah.
And there was a red flag about his knee, and there's various players that came down that obviously would become great players that they said they couldn't withstand the rigors of playing in the NFL.
Yeah, and and just think about some of the news and the talk about these running backs. Some of those running backs fall right into that category of what you just talked about.
Yeah,
I know the Georgia running back. I think had surgery on both his knees.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Know that. That's another thing. Yeah, talking about the draft. The draft is tomorrow, and we're getting a lot of things on it. And now they're saying now the running back will go in the first round.
Yeah,
there won't be any running backs go in the first round.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I thought that, Iowa had a good guy and Michigan had a good guy. So those are 2 of the top running backs, that was in this draft.
It wouldn't surprise me if one sneaks in the later rounds. Because
look at Harris last year. He went kind of late in the first round.
That's true. That's true. Najee,
yeah. Najee.
I mean, they're de-emphasizing the position, but if you got a chance to get somebody like Derrick Henry, and I don't know if there is a Derrick Henry, I'm taking Derrick Henry.
But Derrick Henry, was he a 3rd round draft choice?
No, I think he was the 1st round.
Okay, okay. Yeah, he wasn't in the top 5 or something like that though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's true. Landry and Lombardi were on the Giants staff. Landry had obviously played for the
Giants just a special team. I don't care what you look at. You grew up want to be a Giant, and I
didn't want to be a Giant. I just liked them because I was
rooting for the Giants. Don't tell me.
I liked them because they were the closest team to where I grew up at. That's the only reason. When I came to my sense, I picked a team that
you had Giant stuff on your wall. Don't tell me that. I just talked to Jerry Bell, and he told me you had Giant stuff on your wall in Arizona. Don't tell me.
That is not true. That is not true.
No, I'm just joking.
I did like LT though. I did like LT.
LT,
and I liked Harry Carson.
George Martin, yeah.
So those were guys I liked.
Would you like Leonard Marshall? That's my boy there, Leonard.
Me and Leonard were the same draft. He's 84.
I know. Yeah, he came in draft.
I like Leonard a lot.
Yeah, that's boy there.
Yeah.
Leonard, boy, he coming in.
Yeah.
That's who has some. That's who has some muscles and probably could wear that 4 or 5X shirt.
Yeah.
But he was.
He could really run too.
Oh yeah, he was.
He was a big guy. I mean, he played at LSU.
Yeah, exactly.
A football player. Very good.
The Giants news. So, what you think about happening with the Giants?
The Giants? What do you think gonna happen with them?
Yeah.
We know there's some things going on. As obviously they want to put something in there where they can get rid of the cornerback Bradbury.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Kadarius Toney, they talked about trading him and getting rid of him. He shows up to voluntary.
Well, you know,
How's the other
I talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Me and Matt talked exactly about that, and we both came to the conclusion they were gonna get rid of him because anybody don't want to come to a voluntary workout. This is your second year. You did okay as a rookie, but man, this is the year that we got to depend on you and move forward with our team.
Yeah, and then they have another receiver. I forgot his name. Now they want to get rid of him as opposed to Tony. But here's the thing, and you know this as well as I do from being around football for so long. And I've been in those draft rooms. Slayton, yes.
Slayton, number 86. Yeah, Slayton, number 86. Yeah.
But here's the thing that's interesting. When you go in those draft rooms, there are certain colleges that they have that little red mark on them.
Yep.
And they don't want to take people from there. When I was Georgia was one of them. At the time, I was coaching in the NFL. Florida right now, if you notice it, Florida is one of those schools where Tony's from.
Yep.
Those kids, for whatever reason, I mean, they never excel.
I'll tell you another school that they put a red flag on is Miami. Yep. Maybe because of the party. Did they put a red flag on Miami?
I don't think so. Because you look at how many number ones and how much success they had over the year.
Yeah.
There were some schools, but Miami wasn't one of them because you look at
they talked about that tight end that came out with the New England and that end up getting in trouble. And
that wasn't Miami. That was Florida, University of Florida.
He went to University of Florida?
Yeah, he went to Hernandez.
Yeah, Hernandez. Yeah,
he was at University of Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, that's another one.
Urban Meyer. Of all people, he was there with Urban Meyer.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I guess Florida was
Miami. They never. Here's one thing I know about Miami. You can say what you want about Jimmy Johnson. First of all, they had over 90% of their kids graduated, and they didn't graduate in fluff degrees.
Okay.
I mean, these were some of the smartest football savvy kids I've ever seen in my life when they came from Miami. And he did, and you heard about all that brag and stuff, but Jimmy ran a good ship there. I got to give him credit because he got those kids to play hard and they played discipline. They were the least penalized team.
Yeah.
And with all that stuff, that's pretty interesting.
That is interesting. That's good to know. That's really good to know.
And they've had some good players for obviously the Cowboys and the Giants because you look at some of the guys they've had play for both teams. So, and the Giants, I'm looking at this. They're saying that the Giants may take Evan Neal from Alabama.
Yeah.
And then Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner can be a
that corner. I kind of still like Stingler a little bit, but I had talked about Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame as a safety.
I remember they said you said that, but Gardner is interesting because he is that type of guy that could be a shutdown. He could take away the side of the field. He could be a shutdown corner because
they came here and played at AT&T Stadium. And so one of the corner opposite of him used to go to our football camp up in Cleveland. He's from Cleveland, and I forgot his name, but his high school coach came down here, and we had lunch with him before he went to the game. But they are known for shutting down some receivers. Yeah.
And it's a good defensive scheme.
Yeah.
Actually, his first coach at the University of Cincinnati is Marcus Freeman, who's the head coach of Notre Dame.
Right.
Marcus Freeman came from Cincinnati.
That's right. That's right. So yeah.
So that's a situation.
But you know what? There's gonna be some moves. There's gonna be some surprise moves and some surprise pick tomorrow.
Yeah. But here's the thing, interesting. Jerry Jones, sometimes you gotta listen because he tells you things if you're not listening.
Yeah.
And you just gotta listen to what he's saying. He said in this draft, there's only about 15 to 16 players that have a first round grade.
Yeah.
So that's why teams are looking to move. If they get in that top 15, then they got a chance to get a number one there. If you don't, it would not shock me if the Cowboys move out of the first round. I would not be shocked at all because they would do that.
Because like you said, the first 15 or so players are gonna be gone. And those are guys that really got that high mark.
Yeah. And then what happens then when you look at your board, if your guys are gone that you really like, now you're kind of just throwing darts because you're giving a guy first round money, but he's not a first round. And Jerry's point to that is he said that basically that if you're getting a first round guy and you pay him Taco Charleston, he wasn't the first round, and you see that was a great thing.
We had to send him up out of here. Yep.
Yeah. So,
but you know what? Another thing too, Jim, the 208.5 salary cap, man. That's not. I mean, with the demand of signing free agents and having money to spend on the guys that you got to sign to in this draft, that's not that's pretty. That money can max out pretty quick.
Yeah, and you think about your team, the Giants, they got 2 high first round picks.
Yeah.
And they got to get cap space to obviously sign these guys.
And those two players gonna be playing this year. They gonna have a lot of. They're gonna be on that football field.
Yeah. So even if you go down to where the Cowboys pick is 24th pick, are you gonna play a guy that you don't have ranked that high, that kind of money, and knowing he's not gonna possibly play, like you said, he's not going to play on a consistent basis all year.
Yeah.
So to me, the 2 positions that you could possibly get a guy that could play early is a cornerback or a wide receiver. And the Cowboys, if they see a guy they like, then I can see them chances of moving up. I think it's more realistic for them, though, to move down than up.
Let me ask you a question. Do you see any of the guys being like a Chase Young coming in and doing what Chase did for the Washington Commandos? Do you see a player in this draft maybe being
I could see Hutchinson, I could see Walker or Thibodeau.
Okay, those 3 guys. Yeah. And I think that too. I feel those 3 guys can come in and they could be like Chase Young, make the all-rookie team, and make it to the Pro Bowl like last year the Dallas Cowboys linebacker
Michael
Parsons did. So maybe we can see those type players in the top 5.
Yeah. Now it's a little bit more difficult for an interior guy like the big guy from Georgia, where he has a lot of physical ability, but they're getting hit from every angle, and it's a little bit more difficult for them as opposed to being on the perimeter where you can really get on the edges.
So at the end of the day, with us saying that, I think the Giants should be excited by having the 5th and 7th pick.
Yeah. Now, I might be wrong, but I see here somebody saying Evan Neal, but they did get a lot of offensive linemen in free agency.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. They signed 5. Didn't they sign 5 free agent linemen?
If you can get in offensive lineman, Bill Parcells used to say that's the safest pick. To pick offensive lineman, because if they're not good enough to play tackle, they can always move inside and play a guard, and they're probably going to play for 10 years.
And that's a proven factor right there. Billy Art is one of those players that came in with the Giants, and William Roberts from Ohio State was another guy that played in that capacity as well.
Yeah, and they said, and he's always felt that you can get offensive linemen late in the draft, but this is a different era as opposed to back then, because more offenses in college ran standard offenses.
Yeah.
Now you have them running these spread, and now Alabama does run this more closer to a standard offense than a lot of teams.
Exactly. Yeah, I think everything Alabama do for its offense is getting their players ready to play on the next level.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So he can do it, but as anywhere else, Alabama at every position has had issues with some players coming to the NFL and not being able to excel.
Yeah.
So, but that's every school. That's every
school. Yeah.
So they'll be in there. corners, I think, in this day and age, just like what's happening with receivers, they're more ready to play as opposed to other positions. Michael Parsons was, he was good enough, and like you said, Chase Young and some of those guys were good enough. But I think it's easier for corners to get there because of the 7-on-7 and the things that they're asked to do. It's not going to be that much different.
Right.
Yeah. So moving on, the Giants hired a guy named Cade Knox as an offensive assistant, game man.
He's a graduate of Harvard.
Yeah.
And he earned his degree in psychology, and he was a wide receiver on the football team up there. So he's supposed to be like a little smart genius type guy that and maybe he can come up with some creativities on that offensive side of the ball.
To me, and that's I'm not knocking that hire, but sometimes as management and as coaches, they overthink it. The reason teams win is they normally have players that understand football and play football. It ain't a magic. It's not no magic potion that's gonna make it.
Another thing too, Jim, I think the age and the maturity of some of these guys that are supposed to be coming in and trying to help change the dynamic of your team, I think too, you might be overthinking it, like you said, and you might be making a mistake because if this don't work, then what is it you got to say? Because I tell you now, the Giants fans are hard to please.
Yeah. Oh, this is New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you got to fight. You got Giants and Jet fans. They're gonna be fighting each other for that, and the both teams are fighting for that dollar.
You're absolutely right. And don't let the Jets have a successful season and Giants go back in the tub again this year.
That's right.
You're talking about some, they're gonna be calling for everybody's head.
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, there is no time. Hey, you don't have time like you used to. But also, I'm not saying that him being in Harvard is anything wrong. And it's a thing that, to me, that he'll be a good, but he's got to understand this is not Harvard.
And
we're not dealing with Harvard type of athletes.
Absolutely.
Probably some of the best athletes to put on pads.
You're absolutely right. And sometimes you can overthink this think box that these people and this analytic that they're talking about, it ain't sometimes it's gonna be a lot harder than what they think. So I would rather have a guy more experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, my good friend Jason.
Hey, what's up, Jason?
He asked me about the Vikings pick at number 12, cornerback or wide receiver. They're gonna take a cornerback.
Oh yeah, they got a good wide receiver. They
got two really good wide receivers.
Yeah.
Might take a quarterback and get rid of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I would, if I were them, I'll look on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think they're gonna look
with that pick.
There's where I think Stingley has got a possibility of going. Derek Stingley.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna last past 10.
You don't think so?
Not past 10. But it's gonna be interesting to see how everything comes out tomorrow night. Somebody's
gonna fall.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna fall.
Always somebody falls, and they're not quite there when your team have their selection time.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a possibility of somebody falling.
Yeah.
But they're talking about Knox and here's the thing. The reason analytics came into the NFL was because of Moneyball.
Yeah.
And they tried that at Cleveland and it wasn't very successful.
Right.
And analytics, I mean, there's a lot of human interaction or human personalities that go into football.
That's not a part of that mix. Exactly right.
Yeah, because you never know what that guy over there is thinking.
Yeah.
Across from you. And then he can always do that and change the script.
Let me say this though, Jim. One of the things that analytics can't do for you is when your player line up offside.
That's right.
Miss a field goal.
That's right.
And then they come back and re-kick and they make the field goal and you lose the game.
You're right.
They ain't got nothing to do with the analytics.
No. And then when you go ask what happened, he lined up all sides.
Yeah. Analytic my butt.
Yeah. well, he wasn't supposed to do. No joke. No joke. You know.
It's still a game. It's still a game of timing. It's still a game of inches, and it's always going to be the game of speed. You got to have that down pat.
Yeah. I'll never forget this as long as I live. A coach once told me, either you're allowing it or you're teaching it. What are you doing? Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's the thing. And that's what's happening with the Giants. And we're getting on to the Cowboys.
The Cowboys. What Jerry Jones was talking about some stuff today. I guess they were trying to get out of him. That's the one thing the news down here in Dallas and Texas does. Yeah. They always try to see if they can get Jerry to give them a hint of what player they're looking at.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing:
what's the Cowboys news talking about? What's on the Cowboys news?
Well, first of all, they were talking about the draft last year, and they were talking about how they're going to be more conservative this year because they didn't think there were that many players with first-round grades. Right. So they talked about Jerry said that he picked Micah Parsons, and he said Steven picked Taco Charleston, and Taco Charleston has been on 5 teams. He said, I didn't do that. Steven picked him. I picked Michael Charleston.
I think that was the first year that Jerry went on and let Steven kind of be in the control room.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and Steven looked at him. I said, he was like, I can't believe you said that. You might be my dad. But
he told the truth on it.
So Taco Charleston, they asked him about this. He's in New Orleans now. And he had a meme of him crying with $100 bills on his face.
That there should have told me that this guy coming in with the right mindset.
He did that, and he was like, "Okay, Jerry, but you had to pay me. You paid me $10 million. I'm all right."
Hey, they thought he was gonna be the next, Jeffcoat go score have over 100-something sacks. That didn't happen.
No, and that's and we know. You see, and you know it. There's free agents that come in and they do things. Richard Dent was a 7th-round pick in the 83 draft, and we know how good he was. There are players, and it's just something about it. You got to adjust to the NFL, no matter where you come from.
Exactly.
You come from the Power 5, but you also can come from mid and majors, and still, it's just how you approach it.
Yeah.
And so that's how I look at it. Now, they say the Dallas Cowboys are making trade calls. I would be, like I said, if they can get in and get in the top 15 and they see a player there they really like, then obviously they're going to do that. But if they can't, then I wouldn't be shocked if they move back and try to pick up more picks.
Well, we mentioned Michael Parsons a minute ago. He's not tall. He was dynamic, and he made plays at Penn State. I mean, whoever was asked of him, he did it. But what I love about what Dallas did this year that they hadn't done with that much in the past, they moved him around.
Yeah, they did, and that was Dan Quinn.
Yeah,
Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, moved him around, and that made him more effective because they couldn't game him. That's where you go with the analytics. Yeah, and that's where you're headed. Is they couldn't game plan. Well, he's going to be here.
Yeah, so they would send him through the A gap, B gap, C gap, and sometimes they rush him outside. Sometimes, but I'm telling you, nobody gonna run around him.
Yeah, and they force uncertainty on the offense because now they can attack their weakest link. Yeah, it's just kind of like what happened in Cincinnati against LA. They were putting Aaron Donald against their weakest link, the guy the guard that had problems. Right. And they move him around so he could get that matchup because that's what me and Charles did. Me and Charles would rush from both sides, Haley, and try to find the weakest link and who was better able to attack certain players. And everybody has different skills. So that's how we attacked them. And
I think that guard that was in Cincinnati is not there anymore.
I know. You're right. Yeah. They picked up the kid from Dallas that had the issues with.
Oh yeah, number 71.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they picked him up, and he's going to Collins.
Yeah.
Collins, yeah. So yes.
Yeah, Collins. Exactly. They did pick him up.
Yeah. Now, talking about the Cowboys, if there's an edge rusher in that 10 to 15 range they really like, I could see them moving for him to get an edge rusher.
Yeah.
So that might be a possibility. That's always a possibility. They might try to get him. And some people are saying it's Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, but I think he's going to be gone.
Yeah, he's a game changer. I think he's one of the players that can come in and make some things happen. He's one of those players that probably won't be there by the 24th pick.
Yeah. I think, and this is just my opinion for the Cowboys, and you can say your opinion. I think the Cowboys are going to take. Everybody's talking offensive lineman. I think they're going to try to get a guy like Devin Lloyd from Utah. And the reason I say this is that he didn't run well at the combine, but we know that Utah defense I played against it when I was in the Pac-12 is really good, and those kids are prepared to play in the NFL. And he was a playmaker.
And that kid's pretty intelligent too, right?
Yeah, he's very intelligent. But Seattle, when Dan Quinn was there, took a kid that nobody knew about in the first round named Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner played at Utah State, and I played against him when I was at San Jose State, and Bobby Wagner just made plays.
Yeah.
Wasn't, anything that looked like the wow. He was just in the right position at the right time. So it wouldn't shock me if they, and Lloyd they're saying is the lower half of the first round, they might move back thinking they can get him a little later.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was at an event with Mike McCarthy and Dan Quayle, and we was talking a little bit about this year's draft and the youth and the skill set of kids coming out. You might be right. You might be pointing on about them getting that defensive player, but also sometime in the back of my mind, I was thinking they might get a wide receiver because by Amari Cooper gone, and they dumped that $20 million salary, $22 million. So I'm thinking they might, if one of these top 5 receivers is around, I'm thinking like Jameson Williams, Drake London,
no question.
Garrett Wilson.
You got a good point.
So
the only thing you get a little concerned, Jameson Williams is coming off the the AC, right?
Yeah. He had the knee problem, but man, the way his workout's been and what he done at the combine, and so his stock done shot back up.
And London is a bigger guy.
Yeah,
he's more of and I was talking to me and Mac Jack. We're talking about it. London sees more of a red zone threat.
Yeah, he's a more inside receiver too out of USC. Yeah. He can make some things happen. He might be a Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, he might be. He's bigger than both them.
No, yeah, he's bigger. Yeah,
and that shows you the best receiver in the NFL wasn't a first rounder. Right now, Kupp is. So
he is.
Like you've always said, you can get receivers.
Yeah, you can get them all day long. I think. I think it's the chemistry and the philosophy and the style of offense that you put the guy. The Giants got a lot of good receivers, but I don't think they in the right format of how to utilize the skill sets.
Yeah. So who are you picking the Giants to take with their 2 picks?
I like Thibodeau and Kyle Hamilton.
Okay.
That was my pick last week.
Okay.
But if we decide to go with a receiver, I'm going with Jameson Williams.
Because they said Philly is enthralled by him.
Oh yeah, Philly. Yeah. I just think the 5 and 7, you're gonna have some players.
No question.
Yeah,
you're gonna get pick of the litter. Yeah.
But I think I would go ahead and stack up my defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now let's get on to
who will you pick? What will you pick for the Giants? If you had a 5th and 7th pick, what would you like?
If I had the
JB.
Me and JB played at Arizona State
We talked last night. I told him I was going to send him the link. So I just, he was able to find us.
And obviously, you noticed who was the most intelligent one because he just found us. We've been here for a while. We
had a long night. Hey, JB was out there dancing last night.
Oh yeah, I would dance.
Him and his wife,
dancing.
And JB run that Tampa Bay chapter, so he stay busy.
Yeah, and he has the most wonderful wife in the world, Ruth. I've known Ruth since I've been at Arizona State, known JB and everything. So glad you can make it, JB. But talking to other things is let's talk about the Nets. Yeah, let's go move on to NBA.
NBA playoff, baby. Mm-hmm.
The Nets are it's a trash fire. This is not good. And it just didn't, for whatever reason, they didn't mesh.
Yeah.
And they get swept by the Celtics. The Celtics are a good team.
Right.
But they're not a great team. And it's just to see that's unfortunate when you got guys like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They're going to have to look at their roster and possibly make some moves to try to fix that. And Ben Simmons not being able to play and for whatever reason, mental health.
Yeah. But it's just so much happened this year during COVID. And Kyrie, he played in away games. He didn't play home games. It's all different case scenarios that happen with that team, and you got to have chemistry.
Yeah, you really do, and I think that kind of disrupted the chemistry.
Yep.
With the Nets, and that's unfortunate because Kevin Durant is like really LeBron James. They're on the downside of their career.
Yeah,
they want to win another championship, but it's going to be difficult to put everybody together. And that's true. It does show that KD can't carry the team anymore.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with LeBron. They can't carry the team because they're getting at that point where they need help around them.
Yeah, they do. They need that support, Cash.
Yeah, they got to have a support. And I think the worst thing that happened to the Lakers is getting rid of Caruso and some of those younger players for older players because you got the issues. Same thing with KD. They try to bring in older players that surround Kyrie and KD, and then you had Simmons who had the other issues, the mental issues, the mental health, and then he had the back issue. Yeah, and you can't do that. It's hard to carry. And they talk about KD, but he was playing with, tremendous guys. Curry. And you can say anything you want about Green, but he was there.
Yeah,
and we still know
Draymond Green,
Draymond. And then
that just goes to show you
Iguodala was the MVP.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
So that's the thing. It's a team. There's no team.
It's a team. I don't care. At the end of the day, that teams win championships.
Yeah. Because I kept looking and said, who's really playing the 5 for him?
Yeah.
Who's playing the center for him? And they couldn't. That's what they got out physical. That's one thing that the Celtics won't be able to do to Milwaukee. They won't be able to out physical.
Man, Milwaukee be bringing it.
Yeah.
They be bringing it.
And then, I had a talk with Mark Cuban, and I said, Jim, Luka's gonna wear the number 77. So I said I give him my number 7.
Well, you the Marquis number 77 down here in Dallas now.
I was. Lucas taking it away.
Let me tell you something. Lucas hit them long balls, man.
Yeah.
You know what though, Jim? I just thought about this. You and Lucas kind of run alike. Y'all run alike. Y'all probably.
Yeah, we got the same shot because I got that fade away too.
Oh man, I think Lucas might wear a 2X though. You wear a 3X. So hey, that's good stuff.
He might wear a 5X on the belt.
That's 77, man. That's good. That might be a good number, man. 77.
Kind of unusual number.
Yeah.
Kind of unusual number.
The double sevens.
Yeah, but the Mavericks are playing well, and with the issues with Phoenix now, they might have an opportunity to be. I think Golden State's going to be the other team in the finals. Myself.
Well, Jason Kidd have came on and really done a good job.
Defense. They're playing really good defense.
Yeah, he know all about that defense.
The team that shocked me the most in the playoffs are obviously New Orleans. I didn't realize the Pelicans were that good.
Yeah, they playing well. They don't have no restriction on those players. And Williamson on the bench. Maybe he's learning something.
Yeah, it looks like we're done.
What?
Yeah, boy, this went quick.
JB, man, we appreciate you coming.
Hey,
on board.
JB, really appreciate it. Tell Ruth I said hello.
All right, Jim, great job, man.